Pronunciation of I. I is pronounced first sound, which is mostly given by I, is A. Symbol is like capital I and sound is A. Its equivalent is like alif zir A. Okay, I can give this sound either at the beginning of a word before a consonant or in the middle of words, but not at the end. At the beginning, for example, idiot, ignore, image, Islam, illusion, and the middle like finish, listen, cigarette, hypocrite, and minute. Okay, these examples were for words with more than one syllable. Now, for one syllable words, we have fixed formulas. In one syllable words, in I plus consonant, except R. At the beginning, if we have I plus consonant, but any consonant without R. And also in one syllable words in the middle between two consonants. If you have consonant plus I plus consonant, again without R. And there is not any other vowel letter in the word, only I. Then I definitely gives a sound. At the beginning, like one syllable words like if, L, N, is, it, ink, inch, and the middle like bit, kid, dig, sin, sick, mill, ditch, chips, and etc. Next, we have some endings in which I gives a sound. And I-L-I-T-Y and I-N-G and also an ISM, IST, and also an SHIP and ISH and IVE and IC and also an ITION at the end of words. Whenever at the end of word we have ILITIY, both eyes gives this sound. In ING, in ISM, IST, SHIP, ISH, IVE, IC, and ITION. Examples for ILITY like ability, possibility, feasibility, responsibility. And examples for ING like playing, working, something, etc. Examples for ISM like plagiarism, racism, activism, and IST like specialist, racist, activist, scientist, etc. And examples for SHIP like friendship, ownership, leadership, sponsorship, and ISH like English, childish, waspish, etc. And IVE, which are mostly mispronounced, like active, people say active, or positive, people say positive. So it is not Eve, it is Ev, negative, relative, etc. And also an IC at the end of words, like terrific, dramatic, specific. And examples with ITION, like position, acquisition, opposition, admonition, addition, definition, tradition, etc. Okay, now sometimes in this formula also I gives a sound. If we have I plus consonant plus E at the end of words, but sometimes or rarely, because mostly here I gives another sound, like I sound, like fine, recite, etc. But sometimes this sound is also possible in this formula, in I plus consonant plus E, but again without R. Any other consonant but R. Like determine, examine, these two words are also mispronounced like examine and determine, but they are determine and examine. Another example, intestine, margarine, and discipline. In these words, we have I plus consonant plus E at the end, especially in. And other examples like give and live. Live as a verb. Of course, adjective is live. Okay, now we come to the second sound of I. That is I sound, like the name of this letter. Simple is like this. I. It is a diphthong combination of A plus A. So A and A, they become I. I. Okay, again this sound can be given by I either at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of words, in all three positions. At the beginning, like itself the word or the subject pronoun I, and also idea, irate, icon, isolation. At the end, like high, alibi, stimuli, fungi, and in the middle, like mild, vital, tiny, minute, and gigantic. Okay, and the formula for this sound, which we mentioned before also, this formula, usually I gives I sound. I plus consonant plus E without or any other consonant. In this formula, mostly I gives I sound. Sometimes A, like you said, give, live, etc. But mostly this sound. Examples like one syllable words like shine, file, live, live as adjective, of course, knife, hike, time, pipe, wise, bite, slice, bribe, slide, strive, and more than one syllable words like concise, reside, archive, finite, invite, recite, combine, dynamite, parasite, a while, compile, and etc. Okay, now we sometimes have difference between British and American English in this formula if the following consonant is L, which means that if at the end of more than one syllable word we have an unstressed ILE. If at the end of a word which has more than one syllable we have ILE, but there is no stress on this syllable, then in British English, American English, either a sound, schwa, or sometimes it becomes silent. For example, British mobile, American mobile, or American also mobile, two possibilities. British fragile, American fragile. British agile, American agile. British reptile, American reptile. British missile, American missile. British fissile, American fissile. British futile, American futile. British fertile, American fertile. British sterile, American sterile. British docile, American docile. British volatile, American volatile. And British hostile, American hostile. But in all these words, the condition is that on this syllable we don't have stress. If we have stress, then both British American is like this. For example, before we studied compile, stress is on pile, or a while, then both British American is I if stress is on this last syllable. And some more rules for this sound of I. When at the end of a word we have IGN, IGH where H is silent, and also IGHT again where GH is silent. In these endings also I is pronounced I. IGN like sign, resign, design, malign, benign, and IGH like high, sigh, thigh, and IGHT like right, light, night, fight, delight, and etc. Okay, once again, okay, the next or third sound which is given by I is a triphthong, I, which is combination of A plus A plus becoming I. Okay. Examples like iron, wiry, etc. This is also mostly mispronounced like iron. It is not iron, it is iron. O is silent. We will study in O. And I is pronounced iron. It is pronounced like this. Like we say iron. And also in the word wiry. I is pronounced I. Okay, again, we have British American English. If at the end of a word we have IRE, British, this triphthong sound I, and American diphthong sound I. British I, American I. Like British tire, American tire. Okay, what is the reason of this? In British, it is lengthened. See? I-R-E. E is silent at the end. And in British English, R is also silent at the end. So what happens that when the vowel remains alone at the end, it glides a little bit. It becomes longer. The example is like this vowel is like water because water flows. And this consonant is a block for that. Like ubuchi baigi au da ubuta chabanda chawalai. Da consonant like a band on the Chibani nubuchi baigi bazigi. So in American we have consonant. So it is I, like tire. But in British, when R becomes silent and there is no consonant to stop this vowel, it becomes longer naturally. Tabida also dakhlo digi. Zaga tie ban establish kawale tire. British becomes triphthong. Other examples: American acquire, British acquire. American inquire, British inquire. And American expire, British expire. American spy, British aspire. American inspire, British inspire. And American respire, British respire. American admire, British admire. And American attire, British attire. Alright, one thing else regarding this sound, many people are again mistaken or they mispronounce. Sometimes at the end of a verb, we have I plus consonant plus E. And I may be pronounced I or maybe I, triphthong, whatever. Sometimes I, sometimes I. When these verbs are changed to noun, we add A-T-I-O-N to them. And what happens when we add this A-T-I-O-N to them, the sound of I also changes from I to to schwa, which many people fail to realize, and even in the noun form they pronounce like I. For example, verb invite, noun invitation, not invitation like many people say. Verb expire, noun expiration, not expiration. Verb recite, noun recitation, not recitation. Similarly, verb inspire, noun inspiration. Verb combine, noun combination. Verb perspire, noun perspiration. Verb respire, noun respiration, verb aspire, noun aspiration, and verb deprive, noun deprivation. Okay, the next fourth sound we mentioned for I, which we said can be given by different vowels, but it is always used before R. The following consonant is always R. In E also we studied, and I also will have this sound, but it is always used before R. Like circuit, girl, bird, skirt, shirt, third, firm, chirp, and etc. And the fifth sound given by I is E. Short vowel, like in Pashto Landaye, E. Like a tir, mir, kir, etc. E sound. Examples like fiancé, alleviate, antivirus, pronunciation, conscientious, and so on. And the next sound given by I is the long one of this, E. Same but long vowel. E and E with colon, E sound. For example, in the word pizza, I gives E sound. And a formula for this sound, again, the formula which we mentioned before is also sometimes applicable for this sound. The formula I plus consonant plus E. Mostly I sound, sometimes A sound, and sometimes E sound also. I plus consonant plus E. Examples like expertise, sweet, quarantine, margarine in British English. American was margarine. Byzantine, aubergine, cuisine, citrine, tangerine, and etc. Okay, and also when we have I plus GUE at the end, or I plus QUE at the end, in these two endings also I is pronounced E. Examples for IGUE like fatigue, intrigue, and with QUE like unique, boutique, boutique, oblique, and etc. And the seventh sound, actually it is a possibility of two sounds. Sometimes, before also we mentioned this in another sound, I think in A or E. Sometimes I can be pronounced either A or two possibilities. Then we write the symbol like this, which means you can pronounce either A or I think in ED we studied at the end with T, like started, we said. So sometimes I also has these two possibilities. And the rules for that is ITE at the end of words and IMONY at the end of words. IT at the end and IMONY at the end. Examples for ITE like infinite, infinite, definite, definite, opposite, opposite, and favorite, favorite, exquisite, exquisite, prerequisite, prerequisite. And examples with IMONY like testimony, testimony, alimony, alimony, matrimony, matrimony, palimony, palimony, patrimony, patrimony, acrimony, acrimony, and antimony and antimony, imony and umony. A or B. Okay, the next, number 8 sound given by I is ah sound, like alif mat unrounded. Lips are not rounded. Ah sound. We have the word lingerie, in which I can be pronounced ah. And also we have some French words in which we have I after O. We have OI. In these French words, this I is pronounced like chamois, patois, bourgeois, abattoir, au revoir, pourboire, pointe, soigner, and soiree, etc. And number 9, I can be pronounced y. Y sound, like y, ye. For example, in the word auxiliary, the I after L is pronounced y. Auxiliary, y, yuri. And N-I-O-N at the end of words. Whenever we have N-I-O-N at the end of words, I is pronounced y. Like onion, opinion, union, companion, bunyan, and etc. Okay, these 9 sounds are given by I based on the rules we studied, but we also have a rare sound with I, sheep sound, which is normally given by A only, like cat, bad, we studied at the beginning. But in this word, I can be also pronounced either lingerie or lingerie, 2 possibilities. That is a rare sound with I. And we have some rules where I becomes silent. I become silent after T, after X, and after C when they are pronounced sh, and also in the middle of words and followed by a vowel, except in CITE at the end of words where I is pronounced E, and except in CIES. Okay, see, when T, X, and C, when after T we have I, when X we have, after X we have I, and when after C we have I. But not always. When these 3 are pronounced sh, when T is pronounced sh, when C is pronounced sh, and when X is pronounced sh. In these cases, I becomes silent, but we have exceptions. Exceptions are CIATE and CIES. In CIATE and CIES, here also C is pronounced sh, but I is not silent. I is pronounced E. Like appreciate, sheet. Here I is pronounced E. Without these, if C is pronounced sh, or T is pronounced sh, or X is pronounced sh, and we have I after that, I will be silent. Examples with T, like essential. Essential. When we say, for example, essential, this is sound of A. I is silent. Similarly, ambitious with TI. And XI like anxious, noxious. CI like with shin sound like crucial, ancient, precious, beneficiary, and etc. And also, when at the end of a word, we have TION and SION, whatever the sound is. कलंची आखिर की TION और SION राशि आवाज यार शे किशीनी किची किजी वो पदे द्वारा के हम I silent कीगी. TION like action, question, and SION like television, mission, expulsion, etc. And we have a couple of exceptions where I is silent. And the second I in the word aspirin, sorry, the first I, aspirin, I is silent. And in the word business, also I is silent, but exception. That was all about I. Any question you can ask.